Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 49 of the San Marino Challenge. As you can see, and you can probably tell by the title, today's opponents are going to be Manchester United. Now, in terms of our Champions League group, we were drawn against Manchester United, Lyon, and AZ Alkmaar in what is a pretty... Well, I think it's a strong group, and I only say that because AZ Alkmaar actually have a pretty decent team. They've sort of progressed since the game sort of starts. And that sort of allowed them to, get some pretty good players that have, somewhat decent value. I mean, looking at their Dutch players, they've got some pretty good regens. I mean, this guy, 21 years old, pretty solid centre-back. As you can see, a couple of their players are actually shortlisted, and they've been shortlisted for quite some time. Maduro is actually one of the players I was looking at signing this transfer window. And as you can see, he's a pretty solid left back there as well. In terms of their strikers, they got this guy, Francesco Sabatino. Very, very pacey striker. Pretty lethal as well. As you can see, he's Italian, so I was contemplating signing him. Of course, they only signed him last season. I probably should have jumped on that. But obviously, last season we had arguably two of the best, strikers at the moment in the game, in my opinion. Obviously, there are a lot of better strikers out there, or at least, on level with Chan Palat and Shokri. But yeah, they're a pretty strong team, so, while on paper, most people would see AZ Alkmaar and be like, okay, well, they're a pretty beatable team. They're actually not. They're very solid. In terms of how the group is going right now, you would sort of expect it, well, to a point anyway. United are on top with 7 points. We then have Lyon on 6 points. Ourselves, San Marino, we're on 2 points, and then AZ Alkmaar are, of course, on 1 point there at the bottom of the group. I mean, in terms of what the goals are, I mean, obviously just solidifying third place, I think, is the goal at the moment in terms of the Champions League. And that's, purely just getting to the knockout rounds of the Europa League. I don't think we can really... I mean, if you look at Lyon, they're essentially... basically, they're pretty competitive with both Monaco and PSG. So, yeah, they're really good as well. Let me just say that. And actually, when we versed them, they absolutely battered us. But yeah... In terms of the league, we're currently top of the league, which is really good to see. We've won 9 games, drawn 1 game, and lost 1 game. So, pretty good form, although we have recently had a little dip. We'll say that. We've had a little dip in form, with the draw and the loss coming fairly recently. As you can see, Juventus are in second position, just behind us, 4 points away. And we do actually verse them in the game after this United game. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting run. We also have a couple of international games with the national team coming up against Azerbaijan and Georgia. I'll give you a brief little rundown of how things are going. This is sort of the reason why I didn't really want to take over the national team too early, and I still think it's a little bit too early in terms of us, me showing you guys games and sort of doing proper breakdowns and run-throughs of what's sort of happening with the national team. As you can see, we're bottom of the group, bottom of the UEFA Nations League. Only got the 1 point, which was a draw against Latvia. I'll show you the fixtures here. As you can see, since I took over, we drew the first game. Really, really unlucky in that second game there against Georgia at home. They got a goal in the 90th minute, which is, it's heartbreaking. We would have had 2 draws. The next game against Azerbaijan was a pretty disappointing loss. As you can see, we brought it back to 2-1, and then unfortunately we gave away a penalty and, managed to lose that one. And then in the reverse game against Latvia, we unfortunately gave a pretty cheap goal away in the 69th minute, which would have, essentially been another draw had we... not, given away that sloppy goal. In terms of the fixtures for the club team, Of course, the previous episode was the Bologna game. We started the season off really, really well with a 5-0 victory coming after that one against Chievo. Cizek, Formato, Viviani with 2 goals, and Nesic also on the score sheet there. We followed that with another win, this time coming against Empoli at home. Formato with another penalty, and then we had Conforti on the score sheet. Worth noting that Conforti has done really, really well this season so far. We then had another nice little 2-0 victory against Sassuolo. Of course, they just got promoted back up to Serie A. Longelo and Sabanda on the score sheet for this one. Then came the first Champions League game, which we managed to draw 2-2 with AZ Alkmaar. Longelo opened the scoring in the 6th minute. Then Francesco, of course, the Italian striker that I showed you, got a brace within 4 minutes. Yeah, in the 10th minute and the 14th. And basically put us behind 2-1. And then Cizek managed to get the equaliser there just after half-time. Then came our first loss of the season, away to Napoli. Pretty disappointing considering we were in front through a Longelo goal in the 7th minute. And then we gave away 2 penalties, one in the first half and one in the second half. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty dreadful, to be honest. Conforti also got sent off, like, literally at the end of the game. So it was just all around a pretty disappointing performance, considering that both penalties, obviously, we shouldn't have given them away. And if we hadn't, they didn't really look like scoring apart from that. So, yeah. Anyways, we bounced back in the next game against Torino with a 5-1 victory. Viviani, Longelo, Forte, Dalm, and Renault on the score sheet there for us. And then we suffered the reverse scoreline in the next game against Lyon. We managed to lose this one 5-1. And, albeit, if you look at their 2 goal scorers, they're really, really good. I mean, this guy, the left winger, look at the pace and strength. He is a top quality player. And then the other guy is Solcic, who is a 24-year-old Croatian striker. As you can see, really good pace, really good strength again. And 18 first touch, mix it in with 17 off the ball and 17 technique. You got a pretty good striker there. And he managed to get a hat-trick in that game, so really disappointing. We then managed to bounce back and beat Sampdoria 4-1. Longelo, Forte, and Renault on the score sheet for us there. We then managed to beat Udinese 1-0. Goal coming from Conforti, again from the right-back position. Cizek also got sent off in this game with 2 yellow cards, which was pretty disappointing. The next game was arguably the biggest game of the series so far, probably, albeit Barcelona was probably a little bit bigger last season. But yeah, as you can see, we managed a 1-1 draw with Manchester United at home. Renault actually opened the scoring in the 85th minute, and then again, really, really disappointingly, giving away another penalty, which Pogba put away to give them the draw there. We unfortunately followed it up with another 1-1 draw, this time coming against Palermo, who I believe were in 15th position at the time. Pretty disappointing, and again, it's the same sort of deal. We opened the scoring again in the 51st minute through Conforti, and then they got another penalty. We're giving away so many penalties and like needless penalties as well, which are really... They're kind of the only way that other teams are really scoring against us, albeit ignoring the Lyon result there. But yeah, it's just really cheap, and we're giving away points in that manner, and it's just not good enough, to be honest. As you can see, though, we did bounce back in the next game. A nice 7-2 victory over Spal. Viviani managed to get 2 goals. Cizek got 1. Formato got a hat-trick. First hat-trick for the team, I guess. And yeah, Dalm as well. Nick Dalm on the score sheet there. The 17-year-old German striker. And finally, the last game I just played was a 2-0 victory over AC Milan, who are really, really struggling this season. I think they're in like 13th at the moment. But yeah, Conforti opened the scoring, and then Novi got a goal on the stroke of half-time. Yeah, so there we go. That's all the fixtures dealt with. In terms of finances, 110 million in the bank. The projection doesn't look really too good, but we are going to get our new stadium at the end of this season, so I expect things to turn around. We are spending a lot on wages at the moment, which is probably the reason as to why As you can see, yeah, we were making profit due to our finances being, well, our wages being less than what we were bringing in, but that's sort of changed now. But yeah, anyways, let's get into today's game. Like I said, massive game at Old Trafford. We've been in pretty good form. As you can see, the first team, well, most of the first team, unfortunately, Conforti actually picked up an injury, so he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Antonio played one game recently, got an 8.2 rating, so it's pretty good, although he's not match fit. Similar sort of case with Nolascoigne. He's played a couple of games, not match fit either, but a little bit better than Antonio. He actually got into the Team of the Week just recently for Serie A. So, yeah, looking for a big performance from him as well. So yeah, today's lineup is going to be Ingvarsen in goals, Antonio at right back, Armini and Squizzato as our 2 centre-backs, with Nesic at left back. Like I said, Nolascoigne will play as our deep-lying playmaker today. I'm going to go with Viviani and Cizek in the centre of our midfield, along with Formato on the left wing and Renault on the right wing. Up front, we're going to go with Longelo, or Longleo. I don't really know how to pronounce his name properly. I think Longelo is sort of, it's not the correct French pronunciation, but it is the closest to it that, you know, an Australian accent is going to get without me trying to go full French. Anyways, the bench today is going to be Marino, Veta, Gilles, Novi, Forte, Vitek, Daum, and unfortunately we can only have the 7-man bench, so that is going to be it. Let's get into it. I mean, United, it's United. They have a very, very good team. In terms of players that are still around, I mean, pretty much a lot of them. They got Eriksen, Naby Keita, Pogba, Rodrigo. I think he played for Atletico Madrid. Of course, Rashford up front. And they got Tierney at left back as well, who I believe plays for Celtic, doesn't he? Yeah, so he plays for Celtic in real life. Very good player, linked with a lot of Premier League clubs at the moment. I'm going to tell the boys that they're underdogs and just try and give them that sort of spiel in terms of our team talk. And I'm just looking for a positive result. I'll take another draw for sure. It's worth noting that we did look the better team in that first game at home. But of course, I mean, it's United at Old Trafford. It's going to be a really tough game. Rodrigo just picked up an injury there, so I guess that's a little bit of a positive, maybe. Although they have players like Pogba and Eriksen. Although Eriksen's probably quite old. And Chiesa. Oh, that's a penalty. Yep, that's going to be another penalty. I don't understand why we're giving away so many penalties at the moment. It's really frustrating, but I'm pretty sure Rashford was pushed over there. I'm not too sure who it actually was that did it. Hopefully it's a dive, but I don't think that's a very common thing. And there we go, penalty. Just like the first leg, Pogba's probably going to put this in the back of the net. And he does. Okay. Well, that's not really the great start that I wanted. 1-0 down through a penalty already. Only 24 minutes in. And we haven't even had a shot yet, so... yeah, I might actually encourage the boys here. That's it's pretty dreadful so far. We do get that first shot, but, I mean, we're being dominated. Can we counterattack? Longelo brings the ball forward. A lot of our players are breaking with him. Oh, that's such a poor ball. Such a poor ball. Played it behind Antonio. Oh, what is Antonio doing? I mean, just headed the ball straight to their player. Come on, boys. Let's slow it down. Keep possession. I mean, let's pump a long ball forward to no one. Luckily, Longelo managed to get that. Oh my god, he just hit the crossbar. I don't even know who that was, actually. I think it might have been Cizek. Oh, that's really unfortunate. And I thought they were going to score another goal there. That looked pretty close. Ingvarsen manages to save it, though. And there's going to be 3 minutes of additional time at the end of the first half here. Longelo does pick the ball up there. That's a nice little position for him to get into. Cizek Get in there, son. Renault with the assist, and that's really, really good to get that goal back just before half-time. Really positive. I mean, that's our first shot on target. I mean, it's pretty unlucky for United, I guess, but, you know, I'm going to take it. I mean, it happens so often against me, so, you know, when it happens for me, I've got to take it and be proud of it, even though it's pretty jammy. Anyway, United with the free kick here. Chiesa, unmarked, gets his own rebound. 2-1 to United. Just like that, our goal has disappeared. Yeah. And we're last in the group at the moment as well. I guess Alkmaar are beating Lyon. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to make a sub here. I'm going to bring someone off. I mean, Nesic is dreadful today. Who else? Viviani? Yeah, why not? Viviani. Yeah, we'll bring Novi on. I mean, he's the only midfielder that we really have. I want to take Longelo off, but, I mean, Dom's not really... He's not good enough to be playing against United. It's really disappointing because I feel like... I mean, we have played pretty badly, but... It's pretty unlucky to concede that last goal, I think. Oh my god, what are my players doing? If it wasn't... Ingvarsen comes up with 2 big saves. But I have no idea what my players are doing. They're literally not even jumping and heading the ball away. They're like, I don't know, mistiming their jumps. Pretty dreadful. I'm going to tell them to push forward, even though we're probably going to concede here. Ingvarsen does manage to save that. I mean, we'll tell them to push forward, but I don't really think it's going to do anything. And, yeah, unfortunately, it does look like we could be losing this one. And, of course, that's going to put a lot of pressure on us in terms of making the Europa League knockouts by coming third in the group. Like I said, Alkmaar, they're a pretty decent team. I think they're probably on par with us in terms of quality. Renault to Longelo. Can we spring an attack forward? Novi, did he hit the post then? I think he hit the post. I mean, we hit the crossbar in the first half, and now we've hit the post. So unlucky. So unlucky. And United are coming... Oh my god, I thought that was going in. Whew, okay. That was a deflection. And I thought that was going in the back of the net. That looked really scary. I mean, we do have the highlight here, and there is what? We had... Rashford shoots and it's wide. But we had the ball and then we just literally passed it to their player. I don't understand. I mean, maybe it's like the personality traits of the team, but when it comes to versing like the high profile games and versing these teams with big reputations, we seem to fall apart and we don't play to our potential. The same thing happened against Lyon. I mean, we completely just were dreadful in that game. I mean, albeit we only lost 2-1 here today. And of course, one of the goals was a needless penalty. Ingvarsen got man of the match, which is pretty surprising. Although he did, come up with quite a few big saves. I mean, we've been knocked out of the Champions League, which is fine because I was sort of expecting that. However... I do want to look at our group. So let's have a look here. Oh, so we're still in third. So I guess Lyon did actually manage to beat Alkmaar. Let me go down here. Apologies for my scroll wheel. It's very squeaky. So we've got 2 games left. Of course, Alkmaar are the next game in the Champions League. And then finally, we've got Lyon as well. I think if we beat Alkmaar, I think United can beat them as well. So... yeah, it's all going to come up to the next game, I think, really. I don't expect us to get a result against Lyon. I think they're way too strong. I mean, a lot of their regens are proper top quality. Anyways, I've got another big game coming up in this next one against Juventus. So I'm going to get stuck into that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you could drop a like, it'd be much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already. And apart from that, take it easy and goodbye.